I challenge you to a duel. Hmm? Pew pew! Boulder Dash!
Your feather is cool.
Thank you.
Your shirt is very nice.
Why, thank you. So is yours.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to our show here at Don't Eat the Art. I hope that you're looking forward to learning yet another thing. So a few episodes back when she was coloring with me, I mentioned how I made those coloring sheets of the unicorns back in high school, and I mentioned I would show you guys how to do that. So I used to do these Sharpie challenges when I was younger, and I ought to take that up again one of these days. I used to be really upset if I didn't get something super accurate in my illustrating, and I'd get mad instead of stepping back and appreciating what I did, just because it doesn't have to be art accurate to look good. So I started doing these Sharpie challenges. I used to like get a balloon and a Sharpie, and I'd blow the balloon up, and I'd try to make a mural in 5 minutes. So I'd just do a little scenery on the balloon with the Sharpie. It was a great party favor thing. But then I started doing it on paper as well. It doesn't have to be in 5 minutes. But the point is to do this line work that, you know, you can't undo what you do with a Sharpie on paper. So it makes you roll with the mistakes, and you usually still get something pretty cool in the end, and it helps you to, if you're getting hung up on accuracy, you can go, you know, this is actually still really cool, and not fuss over trying to fix it or anything. And then you have some fun coloring sheets, so you could go make Xerox copies or have them printed or something, and have a pile of your very own coloring sheets for, you know, short people that live with you or that you know, or yourself. So anyway, now I did the unicorns just because it was something I could just do without a reference photo or anything. I'm going to do 2 examples for you today. One is I pulled my goldfish breeding and genetics textbook off the shelf because it has some great pictures.
I like this. I like mine.
I like yours too. It looks very nice.
Yeah. And some stuff falling. This is your stuff.
Whoa, wow. My stuff is falling. So I picked, I wanted to do a domestic aquatic animal for one example. And so we're going to do this calico oranda fish here. Let me show it a bit. So I'm just going to have this here for reference. I have a few different Sharpies. I don't normally use the fine point when I'm doing these little Sharpie challenges, but if you want to do some more detail, and I may use it for some of the scale work and stuff. And then I brought 2 of these Sharpies because I wasn't sure which one was sharper.
This is the sky of it, but this one is the morning one.
Oh, it's the morning one. Wow.
But it's very far away of that.
Uh-huh. So they have this funky...
What is that?
This is a oranda fish. It's a breed of goldfish. So wild goldfish look like your stereotypical goldfish with the longer body and plain tail. But instead of being gold, no, an actual goldfish. And they're kind of a grayish silver color.
I drew Pokemon. I captured them.
Yeah.
But I captured Ditto.
But, so any of the weird ones you see that are domestic, those are all different breeds created by artificial selection, and so that's why we have so many different varieties. They've been domesticated for, I think it's over 2,000 years. It's multiple thousands of years. And the story of their domestication is pretty cool. But I'm just, for this illustration, I'm just kind of looking at the picture.
Yours is pretty nice.
Oh, thank you. So is yours.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And then, I don't want to forget the nose. And then...
No.
Now, I use, whenever I'm doing real illustrations of animals or stuff, I usually have multiple reference photos to work with and really carefully try to imitate what I see in the image, but not like copy the picture directly. Just making sure I'm getting like the scales in the correct spot, or the leg correctly proportioned to the body, you know, all that sort of stuff. But with
I'm
Sharpies,
gonna get another one.
okay, you can go get a different marker. But with the Sharpie challenges, it's tricky because you have to kind of be sure you're looking back from it as you're going. Because a lot of times I used to I'd draw something, maybe a horse, and the head would be way too big for the body or too small because I'd get so focused on whatever section I was working on, and I wouldn't step back and look at it in relation to the rest of the image, and so then I'd have to go correct a bunch of stuff. So with the Sharpie thing, there's no way to correct. So you have to...
Hey Goober, this is blue.
Yeah, well, it's like a blue-green. You have to correct as you go, because if you mess up, you can't undo it. So you have to really keep the whole image in mind as you're going and really step back a lot.
You're just kind of nice. But you're going to color it.
Well, I'm just going to do the outline first, and then I want to do another picture, because I'm showing them how to do this sort of thing.
Are you talking to Boo for?
No, I'm talking to our camera, because remember we record these and then we put them online for people to learn how to do this stuff, and we watch them together when they air.
Red and blue and greenish makes black. See?
Wow.
I'll try some here.
And I'm not putting every fin ray here, because I don't want to get too detailed here.
But you're going to color the inside.
Well, I don't know if I'll color it for a while. I'm making a coloring page, so I'll need to make copies so that we can, you know, like the unicorn coloring pages you like? Those are all copies of the original ones I drew. But usually there are some fin rays that
when you're done
they
with
kind of
that,
split out at the end.
You can do one of my unicorn stuff.
Sure. They kind of split out at the edge of the fin.
That is a fin, yeah. Is it not wet?
I think it helps it keep some of that realism, even if you're not
So
putting
I'm
all the
gonna
rays or
do
putting exactly
another
where they go
one.
if you just add those little V's there, some of them anyway. I like to add them anyway. And we've got this pectoral fin that's kind of like whoosh. And then the other pectoral fin.
Gray. Gray is my favorite color.
Really? We'll see how much that changes in 10 seconds. And we've got the anal fin here, right in front.
But this is not a sky. It's something. Is a park.
Oh, that's a park? Wow. And no matter how cartoony I make a fish, I always add, they have
This is gonna dry.
They have this little line of dots along them, and it's a sensory thing, and I almost always remember the name, and now that I need to tell you what it is, I can't remember what it's called. But I always add that because it also helps highlight the shape of the fish's body. So no matter how simple I do the illustration, I always add them. And so we're going to add a few scales, not all of them, and goldfish have those nice large rounded carp scales. And you always want to pay attention to the shape of the scales of the fish you're drawing, even if you're just hinting at them, because like gar have these triangular scales, so you really want to make sure you kind of have those diamond shape, I guess, yeah, more diamond than triangle, but you know, they're pointy at the end and not rounded. So even if you're doing a caricature of an animal, you want to be sure you know some of the key traits and then make it a cartoon from that, but don't have like rounded scales instead of pointy, because it can make it less credible as the animal you're trying to portray. And then if you're just making stuff up, you can put whatever on it. Now, with these calico orandas, calico goldfish usually have a few, or like these two have a bunch of these metallic scales that are really shiny, and they almost look like they're just glued on top of the animal. They're kind of funky, and so I want to kind of give a sense of that on a black and white illustration. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make a few spots where I make the line thicker,
and we can share and we can
and
do it together.
Really outlining the whole scale, because they really do just feel separate from the fish. And this is where I'm maybe going to pull in a little of my fine point, where I'm going to add some of the little ribs that, as if you ever look really closely at fish scales, they have these little ridges and rings and stuff like that. So
I'm going to use this color.
Oh, okay.
I got a unicorn one.
Wow.
Hey, this is from earlier.
Oh my goodness.
Look at these flowers.
So, I guess for time's sake, I will not add the second fish, but what I am going to do, and this is one cool thing about domestic animals, is you don't have to pay as much detail to what you put in the habitat, because it's artificial, it's whatever you put in there. So, I am going to add some rocks.
I'm not going to add some rocks.
Okay, you don't have to.
Look, I'm drawing the flowers.
I am going to do a little bit more on the fish. I'm going to make it feel a little more like my style, because I feel like it's too static. I want to add a sense of motion. So even though I have a solid image here, which is not quite my thing, I am going to have a few saccades of, say, the tail and a few other parts to kind of help indicate that slow swish of the double-tailed fish. Alright, so they have a totally different swimming style than the ones that have the single tail.
Look at that butterfly. Look at this flower. And there's one there. Let me put this red on close to you.
Oh, okay.
Can I talk to you and then the camera?
Yeah, go right ahead. What do you have to say?
Something special. These flowers are kind of weird. Look at this town.
Wow, that's a big castle.
Yeah, I'm going to do the butterfly then.
And since those shiny scales are extra eye-catching, I'm going to have a few.
I like so many scales.
I'm going to have a few out and about.
I like the butter.
Throughout the image.
You're kind of weird. I don't know about so many castles.
Alright, and now I'm going to finish adding the background. Now I've added some motion to my fish. But I don't want to get it too crowded near the fish itself. In fact, this might be another good time to switch to the fine point. I mean, I'm going to need to add a little bit more with this to help it feel balanced since I already started. But this might be a way, especially if you want to try something like this where you're adding motion and the subject's getting a little more complex and you don't want to lose it too much to the background, is stick with your fine point to have a less dominating line.
I can't talk to you. This is I'm getting some wet on. This is a trail, and there's a castle. See, this is a road. I'm going to add some line here, and that coloring thing.
Now the rocks I put in the foreground, I'm actually, if I want to have more rocks, I'm going to have to go back to this.
I just found a mono.
Because
Add a mono. What are you doing?
I already started that. Adding more rocks.
Are
And
you doing more in a second?
yes. And then these plants here, they're in the foreground, and so I kind of wanted them to feel like, you know, blurred out stuff in the foreground of the photo.
I have blood.
No, it's just marker.
No, I'm talking about right there. I'm like there.
That's not blood. Those are just little scratches.
No, they're blood. Don't worry about my owies.
And then I'm adding the rocks that I want to put in the background with the thin one. And then I'm just going to have a silhouette of some vague background of vegetation flowing in the water. Well, that's got to be a big aquarium.
You're good.
Thank you.
Can I talk to you?
Sure.
The unicorn is covered nose, but it has some little nose.
Wow.
Can I talk to the camera?
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to talk to you first. So, what are you going to tell me?
What are you going to tell me?
Something?
Something. Okay. I'm waiting. Waiting for something.
It's not working.
Oh.
There.
Okay, so here is our goldfish, our oranda goldfish.
I like that. So many
Let me bring this closer. So you can see how I did the scales, and I added the motion. We have this vague background. I went ahead and went back with the thicker pen to add this a little more depth to it because it seemed too hollow with just the thin lines here. So I just partially added some thickness here and here and then left the rest thin, and I felt that gave it a little bit more balance. So anyway, we're gonna do one more example. Oh wait, we might save that for another day. Alright, so we ended up not having enough time to do two full examples in this episode because once again I forgot just how long it takes to do this sort of thing, so it always feels so fast. Anyway, here is our fish once again. I wanted to do, like I said, I wanted to do an aquatic animal that's domestic, and then I will do another example for you at a later time where I have picked a terrestrial wild animal. So we just kind of have a good mix there. But I wanted to show this photo again. I'm not sure how close a view you guys got of it earlier. Sorry, my lighting's not the best there. But I basically, you can look, I have it very similar. If you look at just the core fish, it's very similar. I mean, the pose is basically the same as the one in the photo. So that's one way to do that. Next time, I'm going to use this cover photo on the Beetles of Eastern North America book as my reference photo. This is Phineas Vindex, one of my favorite North American dung beetles. And what I want to show is I'm going to have the one I do walking. I mean, this is maybe walking, but it's just kind of, it looks like it's standing still. So I'm going to add a little more action to it. And so you'll see what I do when I change up the image a little more on the reference. So this means I'll have to be sure I'm paying attention to what I'm doing with the legs, that I'm not getting things too crazy and inaccurate. And I mean, obviously this wasn't exactly right. I'm sure you saw some of the differences with the photo where maybe I got the mouth a little bit too big and the angle's not quite right. But it's roughly, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, you obviously used that photo. You know, we'll probably be able to say the same whenever we do this example, but the legs are going to be different. So it's just, you have to think about different things when you're doing that sort of illustrating. And so I'll cover that maybe next week. I'll show you how to do that, and you'll have a pretty good sense of how to do these Sharpie challenges. So thanks for joining us here at Don't Eat the Art. She may have a purple marker over there, but she'd better not eat it.
No.
Or put it in your nose. You don't put those in your nose, do you?
I'm not.
Are you sure it doesn't taste like grape?
No.
No. Okay. But don't eat it, okay? You're not going to eat it, are you?
No.
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 No. Check out this kid enjoying some homemade coloring pages that I illustrated back when I was in high school. And then I printed them on a printing press, but you don't have to print them on a printing press. You can take them to Kinko's or your Xerox machine or whatever and have hundreds of copies made for your entertainment and that of others. So, how do you like those coloring pages?
Yeah.
They're good?
Do you want to sit right here?
Sure. Maybe.
Now sit.
Am I
Now
gonna
color.
Color?
Yeah.
But all I have are black Sharpies.
No, you'll have to try one of my markers.
Oh, okay. You'll share your markers?
Yep, you can have one by,
Oh my goodness.
see, one of these.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you.
You can try
Look
to
at all
not
those
make it rainbow.
Entertainment for
You can
children.
try this pink.
Keeps them mostly busy. Yeah.
Now do it. Now color.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to color now, guys. So be sure to join us next week here at Don't Eat the Art for more awesome art stuff. We'll maybe do the beetle example. But for now, I've got a hot pink sunset to color. There it goes. Things I do for art sometimes. For art. It smells weird.